are honored to have Patrick Ahrens join us at the LAC. And hailing from Silicon Valley and serving as the board president of the Foothill De Anza Community College District, Patrick is a beacon of change and progress. His journey from being the first in his family to graduate college to his instrumental role in pioneering affordable housing on campus and forging pivotal healthcare partnerships showcases his dedication to making education accessible and affordable for all. Patrick's extensive experience, including his role as a district director for Assembly Member Evan Lowe, underscore his unwavering commitment to the community. Thank you, Patrick, for being here, and we would like to hear you.
Well, thank you so much, Edna, and thank you so much to the Cupertino Chamber and members for hopping on our LAC meetings. I've been attending these periodically for over a decade, and it's really important to keep not only chamber members, but community members informed. I've always enjoyed your guest speakers, and it's a thrill to be back with you all. A lot of things happening this year, and the multiple hats that no doubt a lot of our chamber members are wearing this year. Would love to, and I see so many familiar faces on the Zoom. I'd love to just give a brief introduction and then maybe open it up to any questions that folks may want to have, because I think far too often, we have folks hop on and don't get to the meat of what people are caring about or wanting questions about. So just briefly, I'm a board member. Peter Landsberger is our board president this year, but I'm honored to be working with him on the board of trustees. And this is my 5th year on the board. A De Anza College, former De Anza College student, and have worked very closely with many of you, and consider Dennis and Marissa in particular mentors of mine who've helped me navigate the higher education system, and to be able to be now a public servant myself. And so I'm really happy to see them both on as well. Sorry, let me just mute my phone over here. We've been working a lot on the Foothill De Anza College Board. As many of you know, we moved to districted elections a couple of years ago. So I represent the Central Sunnyvale seat on the Board of Trustees. And we've been embarking on a lot of external relations, I think more so than we ever have in the history of the district.
And then left turn.
And that includes anything from the work that we've done and being a chamber member as a community college. That includes, as many of you know, our flea market that we've had. We've embarked on a farmers market with the demolition of the Oaks Shopping Center. We, so many of you Cupertino residents know, we've passed our bond measure G, which is the largest school bond in the history of the county at $898 million, thanks to the residents, where we've embarked on an ambitious plan to not only rehab our infrastructure for both Foothill De Anza, but have made a commitment to $200 million of that bond money is going to go towards affordable housing for students, faculty, and staff. And that's something that I know that many folks on the Zoom may be interested in learning more about. But we are at an exciting time in the district. Many of you know also about the proposal to build a county medical center on campus to bring much needed interconnectivity in our healthcare system. Many of you know that there are a few dozen county medical clinics throughout the county. Supervisor Joe Simonian's county supervisorial seat is the only one that doesn't actually have a county clinic in his supervisorial district. And so there's also no county clinic in the state of California that exists on community college property. And we know so many people have issues with affordability in our healthcare system, but also just don't have proper access to the existing resources that we have. And so that's a proposal that I'm really excited about as we continue to develop these sorts of ideas. Not every idea will come to fruition that comes before the board, but I think it is an example of the forward-thinking nature of meeting the moment of where we're at with our students and community members, and just trying to constantly meet the demands of the community and evolving as the community college system has evolved to try and always focus on student success and equity where we can. That being said, those are a couple of the highlights. I will say also that in more recent years, we've also worked on our annual Cupertino Night Market with the Cupertino Chamber. It's something that I immensely enjoy going to, and just a true partnership with the business community from not only working with you all to have so many alumni and internship opportunities, but also constantly thinking about what we can be doing to serve the community. And I've always just appreciated that about the really hardworking team that we have at De Anza, is always sharing that public mission and commitment. And so as many of you know, there's always a lot of activity at Memorial Park, and we don't underscore it enough, but we've always offered to waive our parking passes for both the city events and other civic events to allow them to occur. And that's just yet another commitment that De Anza College has had to ensure that we are being accessible and good neighbors and good partners to the community. We want to continue all those efforts and more. But if you'll, when I was a student, we had a proposal about a VTA bus pass and making that and providing that for students to have free light rail and bus passes after one small fee. And it's free is our tagline. And that was, again, to meet the demands of so many residents who were struggling with access to our campus and affordability of the public transportation system. So we've embarked on a lot. We have that now. We were one of the first community colleges in the county, and now every community college in the county has a VTA Clipper Pass agreement. So we've been pioneers on a lot of these efforts, but I will say a lot of the proposals that I mentioned actually came from members of the community asking what can the community colleges be doing more to help meet the needs and be good partners. And I'm really happy to say that we have a culture of listening and finding out what the best idea is and not caring about where it comes from or who it comes from. And I'd love to open it up to hear from you all about what you all care about and any questions that I can answer. Thank you so much. And next time we do this, we're going to be all in Claudio's lounge because I think we could all use a lounge space. That looks fun.
Thank you, Patrick. Well, I would like to open the session for questions. If you have any question, it's now the better moment to do it. No questions?
I don't have a question. I just have a statement. Just wanted to say, Patrick, how proud we are of you and how much we are behind you all the way.
Thank you.
So I have a question. What's the status on the search for a new De Anza president?
Excellent question. So we have our interim president right now, Christina Espinoza-Peeb, who has been interim before. She's been doing a phenomenal job and really shares, I think, the board's commitment to an open and inclusive campus community. And I'm sure that Marissa can help work with me on the timeline. I think that we're looking at a nationwide search. As many of you know, De Anza College is one of the top community colleges, not only in the state, but in the country for our transfer rates. And that means that our community has really high expectations about who the next president should be. So we actually want to be thoughtful about going for a nationwide search on this effort, which is going to be, which is why we're so fortunate to have that interim role. And we want to have this process be inclusive and thoughtful. And so after that whole search process, I imagine that it'll take about a year, more or less. Marissa, do you have any specifics on that?
I had actually recently seen a draft timeline from the chancellor that seems a bit more accelerated than that, but I certainly agree with you, and I think all of the college leadership would about how important that thoughtful, thorough search is. I also want to say, just to support Patrick, but also to support Christina, whom so many of you know as a Cupertino resident. She's lived here for over 20 years, but it really is a gift to have her in that role. Patrick mentioned she's done that before, and it's provided just a lot of stability for what already is a very strong senior leadership team. I believe the whole college is feeling very, very good about where the college is now. And we will surely participate in that search when that timeline is followed. But for right now, I would not have any concerns, any of you, just about the ability of the college to move on. Things are going great.
Patrick, I'd like to ask about the status of an event center on the De Anza campus.
Yeah, so excellent question. Right now, we're looking at dispersing our Measure G funds. As you can imagine, we have some of these buildings that are original and have asbestos. And so we're going through our long process of requests for proposals and timelines and plans to make sure that when we're building these centers on campus, that they're not doing so in a way that disrupts the existing classroom activity that happens throughout the year. I know that there is a proposal that De Anza has presented to the Board of Trustees regarding a pretty comprehensive new art quad that will include event space, that will include a comprehensive sort of event area and arts combination. And so that's making its way through the shared governance process and working with the board. I expect that there should be updates in the coming months on more proposals, and I'd be happy to come back and present it to the chamber when it's fully fleshed out. But we're really excited to also kind of having those conversations, but also looking at the existing facilities that we do have and making sure that more folks are just aware. We have an award-winning Fujitsu planetarium. We have the VPAC and a museum, and we have a performing arts center, or visual performing arts center already. And so it's about, yes, looking at the event space that we're looking at building out, but it's also looking at what are we offering the community and what existing programs do we have as well, in addition to some of the other items that I mentioned. We can certainly be looking at partnering and describing the existing space that we do have. And I know that so much of that is already used for language immersion classes, for our high schoolers, for our seniors, for continuing education. But I know that the board has been very deliberate about making sure that we're having comprehensive conversations with Foothill, De Anza, and our Sunnyvale campus about what are our buildings and how are they being offered to the community, and what can we be doing a better job at making sure that these facility rentals are known for not only our own events that we want to put on, but for city events, for civic events. Like I said, we've been great partners about making sure our parking lots are available, but that continual commitment of the farmers market, the flea market, and seeing what other spaces on and other venues on campus we can be making sure that people are aware of for future event space use. I mean, such a beautiful campus, but there's so much repair that is needed. As a board member, I sort of taken for granted just how much infrastructure needs that we have on campus, and how grateful we are to the community for supporting our bond that allows us. I think we're the envy of a lot of other community colleges right now, that we have a community that's been supportive in helping us do a refurbishment of our existing buildings. But we'll definitely keep you updated.
Hey, Patrick, it's John Tang. It's always great to see you, and congratulations for leading a district that has two very high-performing community colleges. I believe Foothill was rated recently #1 in California and maybe #3 in the nation as a community college. Hey, I was just wondering if you can kind of think ahead a little bit. I know some of the stuff you mentioned have been great accomplishments in terms of the bonds and stuff like that, but what do you see are maybe some of the top challenges kind of coming down the pipe?
Yeah, thank you. I think a lot of the challenges are the same challenges that many of the chamber members are facing right now, which is hiring. This area still remains very, very difficult to live and work. The future of work is changing. As a community college at the heart of Silicon Valley, we're very cognizant of not only being one of the top employers in the city, but also what are we doing in terms of looking at the future of the work that we have. What does the future of work look like? We do have a good portion of our students that are still looking at that hybrid model of online versus in person. It's looking like with AI, with the future of education, that, those demands, I think a lot of them are here to stay. At the same time, we also know that our students badly need these in-person services to be successful. Many of them do. But also, some online classes work better for students who are working 2-3 jobs, who are wanting to get their continuing education. So I think it's twofold. It's us as an employer. We're going to continue to struggle to be competitive with the private sector and other public sectors who can, try and keep up with the cost of living. Although I think we try to be as competitive as we can. And it's a great place to work because you get to work with us. But I think also we want to have a seat at the table in terms of what the future of work looks like for our students, and how are we training and educating them in a way that sets them up for success to work for all of your companies and work for the community, and making sure that they're successful when they graduate. Students, the way we're teaching students is very different from when I went to school. And it wasn't that long ago that I was a student, and it's just constantly changing. And so I think we are at the helm of that. Our chancellor and our president, Christina Espinoza-Peeb in particular, and Dr. Whalen at Foothill College have been very cognizant about trying to think about us being a premier employer of choice. But at the same time, what does that future look like? What does the childcare needs look like? What does, how are we moving forward in educating folks in a way that makes them competitive for the Silicon Valley economy, which is very volatile right now. And so we're hyper aware of those. And I think that the community college district has a central role to play in those conversations. And I know that we're going to be continuing to look at those, but I would say those are the highlights.
Thank you.
I saw that Karen wanted to ask something,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, just real quick, Patrick, and it's kind of perfect following John's question, but we have a lot of workforce needs for the healthcare workforce locally, especially around mental health services and behavioral health, treating individuals with substance use issues. Do you see a way for the community colleges to kind of play a role in trying to help us kind of get ahead of this kind of current and growing problem to try to get that workforce? Because the state's, putting a lot of effort behind treating behavioral health problems, but us and the county and others, we're all actually competing for the same limited number of workers who can actually work with those patients. So just love your thoughts on how to best deal with that issue.
Yeah, I think that for my personal opinion is that partner with Foothill and De Anza. I think that we have the best faculty. We still have the best faculty and the best staff, and and the best programs, and we're eager to start new ones and embark on new and existing things. As many of you know, Foothill has the first dental hygienist program that has a baccalaureate degree. De Anza College has just got awarded the first baccalaureate degree for auto tech. De Anza has an award-winning nursing program that has a wait list of people eager to join the program. There is a bill before the legislature right now to address the huge backlog in nursing, and that would grant 15 nursing programs in the state of California for community college nursing programs to be offered baccalaureate degrees instead of having to go and get your De Anza nursing program licensure and then go take out more money and waste more time and go transfer to a 4-year institution and then finally get your bachelor's degree and then be competitive with the nurses who already have a bachelor's degree versus the students who are ready to go, who are perfectly trained with some of the best faculty members, but are having struggle to be placed in these hospitals and clinics because they're competing with nursing programs that have 4-year degrees. If we know that we have a problem, we have to approach the problem differently, and that we must include the community colleges as an answer to that. I think the wheel is already made. We just need to be able to get out of our own way and let our students be successful, let our faculty be successful. And I think that includes unleashing the really power of the community colleges, not just for Foothill De Anza, but throughout the state of California. And that's why, I think we should put strong pressure and support of these baccalaureate programs at community colleges where they are specific to these programs. We know we have a huge backlog and demand, and we know that this demand is going to get worse and worse as we have an aging population in California. We know it's going to get worse, and yet what are we doing to increase that pipeline? Let's work with you as employers, and let's work with us as educators to get more nurses graduated and let's get them graduating at these premier institutions like De Anza so they can be ready to not only be good employers, be some of the best nurses that no doubt Kaiser will have. So
that's a great idea. Appreciate you mentioning that.
Absolutely.
Hey, Patrick, it's Rod. I've got a question for you. I know that you have a day job also. Of course, appreciate everything that you're doing at the community college level. Thank you for your service there. In your day job, are you seeing things at the state level that either now or over the next few years you think folks in Cupertino ought to pay particular attention to?
Yes. I'm old enough to remember and live through the very real circumstances of the Great Recession. And I think that California has an extreme budget deficit right now at anywhere from $50 to $80 billion, depending on what the final numbers go through. And I think we need to be very cognizant of that and start planning and preparing for that. Anecdotally, I see the jobs report numbers and the economy has been slowing. We've added less and less jobs. We see tech in particular and the tech sector and other areas of our economy. We're tightening our belts, and the state of California needs to do that, and that would require the rest of us to do that too. And if we know that, I think we should be planning for a little bit more and having these hard conversations, because I think if we're planning for it and having these frank conversations now, it's going to be a lot easier to help manage moving forward. And the reality is that for the first time in the history of California, we've shrunk as a population. That's surged up and down over the past several years. But I think we need to be preparing better for setting ourselves up for success in this economy. And that's going to need to include being better partners for not only our business community, but for the residents who live here. That's why we're going into looking into housing. That's why we're looking into the county clinic. That's why we're looking at the nature of work and figuring out how are we best educating our students that's keeping up with the demands of the economy. But I would just say, from my perspective in my day job, I am worried about our economy moving forward, and are we best preparing ourselves for that? And I just feel like we're not having those conversations until we need to have them. And I think that the time is now to have those conversations about, how are we going to manage the slowdown in the economy, and what can we do to prevent cuts around the critical services that we need. Good question. Hi, Donna.
Any other question or comment to Patrick? No? Well, I think we're going to finish today with the conversation with Patrick. Patrick, thank you so much for the update.
Thank you so much for having me, Laura.
I would like to invite you to everybody to come. I know it's far away, but night market is going to be on September 14, and everybody is invited. Come with your family, friends, dogs. Oh, dogs, I think so. No, right? It's not a permit on the ANSA. I don't know, but people comes with their pets and they just have fun. Well, thank you so much for today, and we will see in the next LAC.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.